Good evening. Welcome to Rachel Pilcher Writing Workshops Live. This is episode 35. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I first want to do an announcement. If you watched the last episode, you heard about this. I just want to make sure I would love to have all of you there on August the 15th, which is this coming Thursday. As Sleeping Panther Press, I am partnering up with journalist Edward Brown of the Fort Worth Weekly with an event called Writer's Block. It's going to be at Leaves Book and Tea in Fort Worth. So if you are in the North Texas area and you can get out to Fort Worth from 6 to 9 p.m. on Thursday, we'd love to have you come out, chat with a bunch of writers, and basically, get to know everybody that's in the writing community. This first set of photographs that it's going to be is of journalists, and there are quite a few quotes that are from Fort Worth journalists and bloggers and editors and other writers, including myself. So I would love to be able to see you there. So I hope you come out to Leaves on August the 15th. So let's go ahead and get started with the topic for tonight. Creativity amid distraction. I can tell you this is a topic that's very close to my heart right now because starting tomorrow, I've been doing work for school all summer, but tomorrow is our first day of professional development. Teachers always go through a week of professional development before school starts, and our first day is tomorrow. So being creative amid distraction takes on a whole new meaning for me starting tomorrow. But creativity doesn't always happen when you're sitting in your office at your desk with the door closed and you have a perfect environment going and music playing and whatever it is that you take to be able to sit down and get creative. Sometimes it happens in the middle of a loud meeting, like professional development happens in the middle of a loud meeting, or when your family is in need to spend some physical time with you. So you can't simply ask for life to stop for you whenever the creative mood strikes. So whatever the distraction is, you really just kind of have to, when that creativity sparks, you have to answer that call. So here are a few tasks that you can do whenever you are in a distracted environment to get the creative flow going when it's not the perfect destination for you to do your writing. So the first one that I have is if you're working on a project that requires some research, sometimes whenever you're having that family time, when you're watching TV, maybe in between commercials, or whenever people have to get up and have their potty breaks, it's a great time to pull out your smartphone or your iPad and do a little bit of research. It doesn't always take a long time to pull a website up and kind of scan through it to see if it's something that's going to be useful for you. Now, your writing might not require research. I always find, though, that even when I think I don't require research, there's always something that sparks my interest in this one particular thing that I'm writing about that I like to go and do a bit of research on. So, that's something that's quick. You can pull something up, and then that'll give you a note that you can go back and look at that later whenever you have more time. But at least you've done that initial, finding of that information, and then you can disseminate later if that's going to be useful. So the next thing that I have is when you're in a noisy environment, as long as you're not expected to pay attention to what is going on around you. So if you're not supposed to be actively participating in a meeting or in a conversation that's going on, this is a great time to use that background noise to your advantage. So many writers like to go to cafes and to parks and to bars to get that ambient white noise in the background. It kind of helps them concentrate more on the work at hand. So I'm not a scientist. I don't know what it is that sparks that in people to where they can just sit there and do that. But so I can't tell you how that works. But I've gone to several write-ins where there's been a lot of noise in the background of the writing group, and I was able to be extremely productive. So it really depends. So like this week, there's going to be a couple of topics of discussion. I know probably tomorrow in my large group sessions that I'm doing where they're going to be talking about evaluations, and I'm not evaluated the same way the teachers are, so I may kind of zone out and do some work. That's what we're expected to do. I'm not going to be a distraction to everybody who's trying to listen. So So that's one way of taking advantage of a noisy environment. The next thing that you might want to do is, well, this is actually something you might not want to do, is to do deep editing while you have distraction going on. So, deep editing means, you're going to have to take a page or a couple pages or a chapter and try to rewrite it and make it to where it works better. So you don't want to do anything like that. But you may want to use some of that distraction, distraction time that you have, to go in and say, okay, well, I need to make sure that all of my characters' first names are capitalized. So I can go and do a search through that and change it from this to that. You might want to spend that time going through and making sure that you have the correct punctuation that you want to have in certain paragraphs. Something that you can be productive on for your work, but it's not going to take all of your mental capacities to be able to just do that. And if somebody asks you a question, it's not going to throw you off too much on your story that you're writing. So that's one thing that you can do. Is don't do deep editing, but do some of those little minor fixes. You might want to check and make sure that your spacing is correct. I don't know, but spend some of that small time getting things done on that. So the next thing in creativity amid distraction, sometimes I use that distracting environment to let go in my writing and to do free writing. I'm not concentrating on a specific topic or a project, but I just kind of sit down and start writing and just get some ideas flowing, just to keep my mind busy. This is a time when a lot of people will do crossword puzzles, or they'll do Sudoku. Did I say that right? I don't think I ever say that right, but that's when they do that kind of stuff. Or they might pull a book out and read a couple of pages of a book. Well, as a writer, as a creative, you can use that time to explore a different type of writing that you haven't done before, or just get some ideas written down that you wouldn't normally just spend your time doing, that you would try to be spending your productivity time working on your project. But this would be time to kind of get some ideas for what the next project could be. Finally, a distracting environment can be a perfect environment to spend some time on outlining a future story that you've been thinking about. So there have been times whenever I've been monitoring state exams, and I've been actively monitoring. I'm going around the room, I'm looking at the kids, I'm making sure that they're not doing what they're not supposed to do, or that they're doing what they're supposed to do. So during that time, sometimes you need something for your brain to do. And so I have gone through and just mentally done an outline of stories or ideas, and then whenever I've had the chance, I'd jot it down quickly on a piece of paper. Because whenever you're doing active monitoring as a test proctor for standardized tests, you can't read anything, you're not supposed to write anything, you're not supposed to do anything. But I can jot something down real quick and get an idea, as long as I am continuously doing what I'm supposed to do. And at one point, I can honestly tell you, when I came up with the idea for Fort Worth Writers Boot Camp, which became Rachel Pilcher Writing Workshops, I did pretty much the entire business model while I was doing standardized test monitoring. It's a very long story. I've told some parts of it in past episodes, so if you want to kind of see some of that, just check that out. But I use a lot of that time when I'm supposed to be doing something else to outline and to get ideas of, well, what would I want to happen next, or what could this be? So those are just a few ways that you can be creative amid distraction. I feel that I think most of my creativity does happen amid distraction, just as part of my job. My brain is always going, so whether I am in the middle of helping a student with doing troubleshooting on their Chromebook, or if I'm watching the kids at lunch that are in the library, I find that I always have things going on in my brain and I'm jotting things down. So I hope that helps you to know that it's okay to do stuff. People doodle, you can be writing while people are doodling in meetings. So it's nothing that people haven't been doing for all time. So just take advantage of the situations you have. If you found this information helpful, please make sure to click the like button. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the thumbs up. I definitely appreciate it. You feel free to share this video with your friends and colleagues or whomever you think might benefit from the advice presented in this video. If there's any topic that you would like for me to discuss in the future, I would love to do it. Just make a comment down in the comment section and just say, hey, sometime talk about this, or Rachel, I appreciate what you're doing. Talk about this sometime. I would be glad to look into it if it's something that I don't already know about, or give you advice on things that I do know. Make sure that you join me this in 2 weeks. Let's see, what is 2 weeks from now? I didn't put it down in my notes, so I don't know what 2 weeks from today is. It's Sunday from the 11th, so that would be 14 days from now, the 25th, I think. Join me though at that time right here on the Rachel Pilcher Writing Workshops page. I will be very happy to give you some more writerly advice at that time. Thanks for joining me tonight. Bye.